Welcome. This is the story they never told you. The night Harry Potter faced Voldemort, Ron Weasley didn't just fall unconscious. He vanished. His body stayed, but his soul, it slipped into another world, one where he never knew magic. And Harry Potter was just a story he made up to feel less alone. Now, Harry and Hermione must do the impossible. Cross into that world, find their friend, and convince him to return to a life of pain, poverty, and danger over a dream of peace. No spells will save him. No prophecy guides them. Only friendship, only truth, only the memory of a single raindrop. Part 1. The Boy Who Wouldn't Wake. May 7th, 3:14 a.m., the hospital wing. Harry's body ached in ways he didn't know bodies could ache. His scar throbbed like a second heartbeat. His hands were raw from clutching the Philosopher'S Stone. His robes smelled of smoke, sweat, and something darker. Fear, maybe, or the lingering chill of Voldemort's breath. But none of that mattered, because Ron still wasn't moving. He lay in the bed beside Harry's, pale as parchment, breathing slow and shallow, like a candle about to gutter out. Madame Pomfrey had checked him 3 times, muttered spells over him, even tried a reviving draught so strong it made Harry's eyes water just from the smell. Nothing worked. "He's not injured," she'd said, frowning at her notes. "No curse residue, no magical backlash. His body is fine. But his mind," she trailed off, shaking her head. "It's as if he's chosen not to come back." Harry sat on the edge of his own bed, staring at his best friend. Ron's fingers were curled loosely around a white bishop, the one he'd sacrificed on the chessboard. Even unconscious, he wouldn't let it go. "He saved us," Harry whispered. Hermione, who'd been pacing near the window, stopped. "He did. And now we have to save him." She looked different. Tired, yes, but also sharper, as if the night's horrors had honed her into something new. Her bushy hair was half escaped from its ponytail, her robes torn at the sleeve, but her eyes burned with that familiar, relentless light. "I've been thinking," she said, lowering her voice. "When Ron fell, it wasn't just a knock on the head. It was like he was pulled away, not by magic, by something else." Harry frowned. "What do you mean?" Hermione bit her lip. Then, glancing at the door to make sure Madame Pomfrey wasn't listening, she reached into her robes and pulled out a book. Not just any book. Its cover was cracked leather, its pages edged in silver. The title, embossed in faded script, read, "Reflections of What Might Be, The Hidden Waters of Hogwarts." "I found it in the restricted section," she admitted. "After we got back from, couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Ron just stopping, and I remembered something Professor Binns once mumbled about. A lake that doesn't appear on any map." Harry's breath caught. A lake that shows you another life," Hermione said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "One you could have lived. One where you made different choices. They say, if you stare too long, you might prefer it. And never come back." Harry looked at Ron again. So still, so quiet. "You think that's where he is?" "I think," Hermione said, closing the book with a soft thud, "that if we don't find him soon, he'll forget this world even exists." May 7th, 6 a.m., Dumbledore's office. Dumbledore didn't look surprised to see them. He sat behind his desk, Fawkes preening on his perch, a half-eaten lemon drop on a saucer beside him. His eyes, as always, held that unnerving mix of kindness and knowing. "Ah, Harry." "Hermione," he said gently, "I wondered if you'd come." "We need to help Ron," Harry said, no preamble. "He's not waking up." Dumbledore steepled his fingers. "I know. Then why aren't you doing anything?" Harry's voice cracked. "He's your student." Dumbledore's gaze softened. "Some doors, Harry, can only be opened by those who hold the key. And the key to Ron's door is friendship. Not magic, not power, just you." Hermione stepped forward. "We think he's in the Lake of Reflections." For the first time, Dumbledore's eyes flickered with something like concern. That lake is older than Hogwarts itself. It doesn't show fantasies, Miss Granger. It shows truths, paths not taken, lives unlived. And it is persuasive. Then we'll be stronger, Harry said. Dumbledore studied him for a long moment. Then he reached into a drawer and pulled out a small, silver vial filled with liquid that shimmered like moonlight. This will let you cross the threshold, he said, handing it to Hermione. Drink half before you enter the water, the other half to return. But remember, time flows differently there. An hour for you may be a minute here. And if you stay too long, he didn't finish. He didn't need to. Harry looked at Hermione. She nodded. They had their mission. May 7th, 9:30 p.m. The edge of the Forbidden Forest. The moon hung full and heavy in the sky, casting the grounds in silver. Harry and Hermione walked in silence, their footsteps muffled by dew-damp grass. Harry carried Ron's white bishop in his pocket, cold, smooth, real. Hermione clutched the silver vial like a lifeline. They found the lake where the forest met the cliffs. A small, still pool, ringed with black stones, its surface so calm it looked like glass. It wasn't here yesterday, Hermione whispered. No, Harry said. It only comes on the night of the full moon. He knelt at the water's edge, looked down. First nothing, then ripples, not from wind, from beneath. The water darkened, swirled, and in its depths an image formed. A small, tidy house with a neatly mowed lawn. A boy with red hair and freckles, sitting on the front step, talking to no one. But Harry knew. It was Ron. And the invisible friend he was laughing with was him. Harry, Hermione breathed. Look. In the reflection, Ron turned, as if sensing their presence. He smiled, a soft, lonely smile, and held up a hand. Not in greeting, in farewell. No, Harry said, voice breaking. Ron, wait. He reached for the water. Hermione grabbed his arm. Not yet. We need to anchor ourselves, or we'll get lost too. She uncorked the vial, handed it to Harry. They drank. The liquid was cool, tasteless, but the moment it touched Harry's tongue, the world shifted. The trees grew sharper, the moon brighter, the air hummed with a low, singing frequency, and the lake began to glow. Ready? Hermione asked. Harry looked at the reflection of his best friend, happy, safe, whole, and utterly alone. I'm ready, he said. He took Ron's chess piece from his pocket, held it over the water, and let it fall. It sank without a splash. The surface rippled once, then stilled, and in its depths, a new world waited. Part 2. The Boy Who Never Knew Magic. May 7th, 9:32 p.m. The other side. The world didn't dissolve. It unfolded. One moment, Harry stood at the edge of a silver lake in Scotland. The next, he stood on a quiet suburban street in Surrey, the air thick with the smell of cut grass and car exhaust. Hermione appeared beside him, clutching the half-empty vial like a talisman. Where? Harry began. Privet Drive, Hermione whispered, eyes wide. But not our Privet Drive. Harry followed her gaze. There, on the front step of number 4, sat Ron Weasley. But not the Ron he knew. This Ron wore neat trousers and a striped polo shirt. His hair was combed. His freckles were the same, but his eyes were softer, quieter, less guarded. And he was talking to Harry, or rather, to an empty space beside him. And then I told Dudley he looked like a pufferfish, Ron said, grinning at the air. He got so mad he tripped over his own feet. You should have seen it, Harry. Harry's breath caught. He made me up. Hermione touched his arm. He's lonely, so he invented you. Harry wanted to call out, to run to him, but Hermione held him back. Remember what Dumbledore said? She murmured. This world is persuasive. If we act like we belong here, we might start believing it too. They watched as Ron stood, stretched, and walked inside. Through the window, they saw him set the table for dinner. Just him and his mum. No Fred, no George, no Ginny. No magic. Where's his family? Harry asked. Gone, Hermione said softly, flipping open reflections of what might be. In this life, the Weasleys never had more than one child. And Arthur, he died in a factory accident when Ron was 5. Molly works as a secretary. They're ordinary. Harry felt a pang so sharp it stole his breath. No Hogwarts, no chess, no flying car, no me. Then why is he happy? He whispered. Because he doesn't know what he's missing, Hermione said. And because he has you, even if you're not real. May 7th, 10:15 p.m., the house on Privet Drive. They followed Ron inside. The house was tidy, quiet, achingly normal. Photos on the wall showed only Ron and Molly. No red-haired chaos, no hand-me-down robes, no enchanted objects. In Ron's room, they found the truth. On the shelf, a handmade book, bound in blue cloth. The title, written in Ron's careful script, Adventures of Harry Potter. Harry opened it with trembling hands. Page after page of stories. Harry versus the giant squid. Harry and the dragon of Diagon Alley. Harry's first Quidditch match. All of them wrong. All of them beautiful. He made me a hero, Harry said, voice thick. He made you everything he wished he could be, Hermione corrected gently. Brave, special, loved. Just then, Ron entered the room. He didn't see them. He walked to his desk, picked up a pencil, and began to write. Today, Harry saved a girl from a troll. She's smart but shy. Her name is Hermione. I think Harry likes her. Harry and Hermione exchanged a look. He's writing us into his world, Hermione realized. But we're not real here. We're just stories. Ron paused, pencil hovering. Then, softly, to the empty room. I wish you were real. The words hung in the air like a spell. Harry stepped forward. I am. Ron didn't react, didn't look up, because in this world, Harry Potter couldn't speak back. May 7th, 11:03 p.m., the cracks in the mirror. They tried everything. Harry called Ron's name. Hermione quoted Hogwarts. A history. They showed him the White Bishop. Nothing. Ron only smiled at his invisible friend, unaware of the real ones standing in his room. He can't see us, Hermione said, frustration edging her voice. We're ghosts here. But he feels us, Harry insisted. Didn't you see his face when he said he wished I was real? Hermione bit her lip. Feeling isn't enough. We need to break the illusion. She flipped through the book again, stopping at a passage underlined in red. The lake's reflection is strongest where the heart is most at peace. To shatter it, you must bring something the reflection cannot explain. A truth it has no place for. Harry frowned. Like what? Hermione looked out the window, at the perfectly clear, starless sky. Rain, she said suddenly. What? In our world, she said, eyes lighting up. It rained the day we got our Hogwarts letters. It rained the day we met on the train. It rained the day Ron beat McGonagall's chess set. She turned to Harry, fierce now. In this world, it never rains, because Ron's life is too neat, too controlled, too safe. Harry understood. Rain is chaos, magic, life. Hermione nodded. If we can make it rain here, even for a second, he'll see the crack in his perfect world. But how? Harry asked. We can't do magic here. Hermione smiled, a real, determined smile. We don't need to. He does. She walked to Ron's desk, took the pencil from his hand, and wrote one sentence in his book. Harry says, "Look up." Then she stepped back. For a long moment, nothing. Then Ron frowned, looked at the page, read the words, and slowly he looked up, at the ceiling, at the sky beyond. And in that instant, a single drop of rain fell on his window. May 7th, 11:07 p.m., the first crack. Ron froze. He touched the wet spot on the glass. Then another drop fell. And another. Rain, soft, impossible, magical, began to fall on Privet Drive. Ron stood, walked to the window, and pressed his palm against the glass. In the raindrop, his reflection flickered. For a split second, Harry saw it too. Red hair wild, not combed. Robes instead of a polo shirt. Eyes wide with wonder, not quiet resignation. "Ron," Harry whispered. This time Ron turned. Not to the empty space. To Harry. His eyes widened. "You're real." Harry nodded, tears in his eyes. "I've always been real." Ron looked at Hermione. "And you?" "Very real," she said, managing a small smile. "And very annoyed you got my name wrong in Chapter 3. Ron laughed. A real, familiar laugh. "Blimey, it's really you." Then his face fell. "But if you're real, then this life, it's not?" "No," Harry said gently. "It's a dream, a beautiful one, but not yours." Ron looked around his room, at the tidy bed, the single photo, the quiet, then back at his friends. "I don't want to go back," he admitted softly. "There, I'm always second best. Always broke. Always not enough." Harry stepped closer. "But there, you're you. You saved us tonight. You played the best chess game Hogwarts has ever seen. You're brave, Ron. Not because you're not scared, but because you do it anyway." Hermione added, "And you're never alone." Ron swallowed hard, looked at the rain-streaked window. In the glass, his reflection was changing, more like the Ron they knew with every drop. "I'm scared," he whispered. "We're scared too," Harry said. "But we're scared with you." Ron took a deep breath. "Okay," he said. "Let's go home." May 7th, 11:10 p.m., the edge of the lake. The world folded back. One moment, they stood in Ron's room, rain falling like a blessing. The next, they stood at the edge of the silver lake, the moon high, the air humming. Ron gasped, clutching his chest. "It felt like I was underwater." "You were," Hermione said, handing him the last sip of the vial. "But you came up for air." Harry clapped him on the shoulder. "Welcome back." Ron looked at the lake, now still as glass again. In its depths, the image of Privet Drive faded, replaced by stars. "Will I remember it?" he asked. "Probably not," Hermione said. "The lake doesn't like to leave traces." Ron nodded. Then, quietly, "But I'll remember the rain." They walked back to the castle in silence, the three of them close together, as if making sure none would vanish again. Behind them, the lake shimmered once, then disappeared, as if it had never been there at all. Part 3. The Memory in the Raindrop. May 8th, 7 a.m., the hospital wing. Ron was awake. He ate breakfast. He joked with Harry about Madame Pomfrey's revolting porridge. He even tried to sit up, wincing only slightly when his head throbbed. But Harry noticed. The way Ron's fingers twitched when he thought no one was looking. The way his eyes glazed over when someone mentioned chess. The way he never once asked what happened after he fell. "He's not himself," Harry whispered to Hermione as they left the ward for breakfast. Hermione nodded, her expression grim. The book said it might happen. If the lake's hold was strong, part of him might still be there. In Privet Drive? In the idea of it, she corrected. The safety, the simplicity, the version of himself that didn't have to be brave. Harry's stomach twisted. "So what do we do?" Hermione glanced back at the hospital wing, where Ron sat alone, staring out the window at the clear morning sky. "We make sure he remembers why he came back." May 8th, 2:30 p.m., the chessboard in the trophy room. They found the chess set exactly as they'd left it. Black and white pieces frozen mid-battle. The king toppled, the queen standing tall, and in the center, the square where Ron had fallen. Harry picked up the white bishop, handed it to Ron. Ron flinched. "I don't want to," he mumbled, shoving his hands in his pockets. "Why not?" Harry asked gently. "Because it wasn't real," Ron said, voice low. "None of it. I just imagined I was good at something. But I'm not. I'm rubbish at chess. Always have been." Harry stared at him. "Ron, you beat McGonagall's enchanted set. You sacrificed yourself so we could go on. That's the most real thing I've ever seen." Ron shook his head. "In my head it was easy. No pain. No fear. Just moving pieces. But here," he touched his temple. It hurts to remember. Hermione stepped forward. That's because it mattered. Real things hurt. Fake things don't. She knelt, picking up the White Queen. In your other life, you wrote stories where Harry saved everyone. But here you saved us. That's not something you can unlive. Ron looked at the board, at the pieces, at his own hands. Then, slowly, he took the bishop from Harry. He placed it back on the square where he'd stood. And for the first time since returning, he saw it not as a game but as a battlefield. As a choice. I was scared, he admitted, voice cracking. So scared I thought I'd be sick. And you did it anyway, Harry said. That's what makes you brave. Ron swallowed, nodded. But as they turned to leave, Harry saw it. The flicker in Ron's eyes. The doubt. The pull of the other world. Still whispering. It's easier there. May 8th, 9:17 p.m. The dormitory. Night. Harry couldn't sleep. He heard Ron tossing in the bed across the room. Muttering. Not nightmares. Conversations. No, it's fine, Harry. Really. Yeah. Chess is stupid anyway. You don't need to stay. I'm not worth it. Harry sat up. Ron. Ron froze. Nothing. Just talking in my sleep. But Harry knew better. The lake hadn't released him. It was calling him back. May 9th, dawn, the lake's price. Hermione found the passage at sunrise. She'd been up all night, rereading reflections of what might be. Her eyes red-rimmed, her fingers trembling. There's a price, she told Harry in the empty common room. I missed it before. She pointed to a footnote, written in tiny, spidery script. The lake gives nothing freely. To bring one soul back, another must leave a memory behind. Not any memory, the one that binds them to the world they left. Harry's blood ran cold. Whose memory? Ours, Hermione said. Whoever crossed the threshold with him. She looked at Harry, then at her own hands. I think I already paid it. What do you mean? Hermione closed her eyes. Last night, I tried to remember my parents' faces. Really remember them. But it's a blurry, like a photograph left in the rain. Harry stared at her. You don't remember them? I remember facts, she said, voice tight. My mum's a dentist. My dad's too. They live in London. But their faces, their voices, it's like they're behind glass. She looked at him, tears in her eyes. I gave them up to bring Ron home. Harry's throat closed. Why didn't you tell us? Because he needed to come back, she said simply. And I'd do it again. Just then, Ron appeared in the doorway, pale and wide-eyed. You gave up your parents for me? Hermione turned, startled. Ron, I heard, he said, stepping inside. I've been hearing things all night. Whispers, rain, and your voice saying you'd do it again. He looked at her, then at Harry. I didn't know. You weren't supposed to, Hermione said. Ron sat down heavily. I don't want your memories. I don't want anyone's. I should go back. Let you have them. No, Harry and Hermione said at once. Harry grabbed Ron's shoulder. You're not going anywhere. We're not losing you again. But she lost them because of me. And I'd lose them again, Hermione said fiercely. Because you're our friend. And that's worth more than any memory. Ron looked down. I don't feel worth it. You don't have to feel it, Harry said. You just have to believe us. Silence. Then Ron reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, folded piece of paper. It was damp, covered in raindrops. I kept this, he said. From the other side. He unfolded it. It was a page from his book, Adventures of Harry Potter. But at the bottom, in fresh ink, he'd written, Today my friends came for me, not because I was brave, not because I was special, just because I was theirs. And that was enough. Harry's eyes burned. Hermione smiled through tears. Ron looked at them both. Okay, he said. I'll stay. May 9th morning, the first real breakfast. They sat together at the Gryffindor table. Ron ate his toast without flinching. He laughed when Fred dumped pumpkin juice on George. He even argued with Hermione about arithmancy homework. And when Harry caught his eye, Ron grinned, the old, lopsided, slightly goofy grin that meant he was back. But as they left the hall, Harry noticed something. Ron paused at the window, looked up at the sky, and for a moment Harry saw it, the flicker of rain in his eyes. Not sadness, gratitude, because he knew now, real life wasn't safe. It wasn't easy, but it was his, and he wasn't alone in it. Part 4. The Truth That Cuts. May 10th, midnight, the third-floor corridor. Harry couldn't sleep. Not because of his scar. Not because of Voldemort's hissing voice, still echoing in his dreams. But because of Ron's eyes. All day, Ron had been better. Laughing, arguing, even teasing Draco in potions. But in quiet moments, when he thought no one was looking, his gaze would drift to the window, to the sky, as if waiting for rain that never came. And Harry knew the lake hadn't finished with them. He pulled on his invisibility cloak and slipped from the dormitory. He didn't know where he was going, only that he needed to understand. He ended up at the third-floor corridor, the place where it all began. Fluffy was gone, the trapdoor sealed, but the air still hummed with residual magic, like a wound that hadn't fully healed. And then a sound, not footsteps, not breathing, singing, soft, familiar, a lullaby his mother used to hum. Harry froze. He knew that voice. It was his own. May 10th, 12:17 a.m., the mirror of another life. He followed the sound to an alcove he'd never noticed before. A shallow recess in the stone wall, hidden behind a tapestry of a sleeping dragon. Inside, propped against the wall, stood a mirror. Not the mirror of Erist. This one was smaller, framed in blackened silver, its surface rippling like water. And in it, Harry. But not the Harry who lived. This Harry wore a white burial robe. His eyes were closed. His scar glowed faintly, like a dying ember. And at his feet, carved into the stone floor, were the words, "The boy who died." Harry stumbled back. "No," he whispered. The reflection opened its eyes. They were green, just like his, but empty. "Why did you survive?" it asked, voice echoing with the chill of a grave. "Why you, and not me?" Harry's breath came in short gasps. "I didn't choose it. But someone did," the reflection said. "Your mother. She chose you over the world. And the world has been paying for it ever since." Harry shook his head. "That's not true, isn't it?" The reflection stepped closer, though it never left the glass. "Look at Ron. He's broken because of you. Hermione lost her parents because of you. Even Quirrell. He's dead because of you. Because of Voldemort." Harry shot back. "Because of you," the reflection insisted. "If you died that night, none of this would have happened. No stone, no shadow, no lake calling lost souls home." Harry's knees trembled. "I didn't ask for any of this." "No," the reflection said softly, "but you keep taking it. The fame, the love, the sacrifices others make for you." It reached out a hand, pale, translucent. "Come back," it whispered. "Lie down. Let the world forget. It'll be easier. For everyone." For a heartbeat, Harry wanted to rest, to stop being the boy who lived, to just be nothing. Then a voice. "Harry!" Hermione stood at the end of the corridor, wand raised, eyes wide with panic. The reflection vanished. The mirror stilled. Harry collapsed against the wall, shaking. Hermione ran to him. "What happened?" "I felt something, like a tear in the air." Harry looked at the mirror. It showed only his own pale, terrified face. "He said I should have died," Harry whispered. Hermione's eyes filled with understanding. "The lake didn't just show Ron his other life. It showed yours too." "But why now?" "Because Ron's return created a ripple," she said. "The lake doesn't just reflect. It balances. If one soul comes back, another must face what they lost by surviving." She took his hand. "You didn't just survive, Harry. You chose to live. Every day. Even when it hurt." Harry looked at the mirror again. This time he saw not death, but Ron laughing in the Great Hall, Hermione arguing with McGonagall, Hagrid waving from his hut. "I don't want to go back," he said firmly. The mirror rippled once, then cracked. A single shard fell to the floor, dissolving into mist. May 11th afternoon, the library, truth spoken. They told Ron everything. At first, he was furious. "You went alone? After what happened to me?" "I didn't know it would be there," Harry said. "But I did," Hermione admitted. "The book mentioned it briefly. The lake shows each soul their deepest regret. For Ron, it was never being enough. For you," she looked at Harry, "it was surviving." Ron was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I saw it too. In the rain." Harry looked up. "What?" "When I was in the other world," Ron said, staring at his hands. "I dreamed of you, not the made-up you, the real one. And in the dream, you were dead, buried under a simple stone. And I was standing there, thinking, at least he's at peace." He met Harry's eyes. "I'm sorry." Harry shook his head. "Don't be. I've thought the same thing." "No," Ron said fiercely. "You keep fighting, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. That's why we follow you, Harry. Not because you're famous, because you choose to live." Hermione placed a hand on each of their shoulders. "The lake showed us our fears, but we're still here, together. That's the real magic." May 12th evening, the edge of the forest, one last time. They returned to the lake. It was gone. Only a patch of damp earth remained, ringed with black stones. But as they stood there, the wind shifted, and for a moment they heard it, the soft patter of rain, the whisper of a lullaby, the echo of a choice made, then silence. "It's over," Hermione said. "No," Harry said, smiling faintly. "It's just ours now." They turned and walked back to the castle, three friends side by side, shadows stretching long in the sunset. Behind them, a single raindrop fell on the dry earth and vanished. Part 5. The Choice Between Happiness and Truth. May 15th, 3 a.m. Ron's dream. Ron dreamed of sunshine, not the weak, watery sun of England, but the golden, endless light of a world without war, without Voldemort, without expectations. In this dream, he lived in a small cottage by the sea. No brothers to overshadow him, no poverty to shame him, no chessboards to remind him of sacrifice. And Harry was there. Not as the boy who lived, but as just Harry. Quiet, kind, mending fishing nets on the porch. "Stay," Harry said in the dream, smiling. "It's peaceful here." Ron wanted to, so badly, but then he heard it. Faint, distant, like a bell underwater. "Ron, come back." Hermione's voice. He woke with a gasp, sweat cooling on his brow. The dormitory was dark. Harry snored softly in the next bed. Outside, the sky was clear, but Ron knew the lake wasn't done with him. May 15th, breakfast, the offer, came in the mail. Not by owl, not by post, by rain. As Ron ate his porridge, a single drop fell onto his plate. Though the ceiling was dry, the sky cloudless. In the droplet, words formed. "One last chance. Return to me. Leave the pain behind. You'll never be second best again." Ron's hand shook. He looked at Harry, laughing with Seamus about a failed levitation charm. At Hermione, buried in a book, brow furrowed in concentration. He saw their scars, the ones no one else noticed. Harry's loneliness behind the fame. Hermione's exhaustion from always having to be perfect. His own fear of never being enough. What if we could all be happy? He thought. He slipped the droplet into his pocket. Said nothing. May 16th afternoon, the library. A secret kept. Hermione noticed. Not the droplet Ron had hidden that well, but the way he avoided the window. The way he flinched at the word chess. The way he watched Harry like he was memorizing his face. She cornered him after potions. "What aren't you telling us?" Ron looked away. "Nothing." "Liar," she said softly. "I know that look. You're thinking of going back." Ron's shoulders slumped. "It's not like you think. I'm not broken. I'm just me. And Harry's just Harry. No one dies for him. No one loses memories for him. It's easy. Hermione stepped closer. Easy isn't the same as real. But what if real hurts too much? Ron whispered. It does, she admitted. But it's ours. And that's worth more than any dream. Ron shook his head. You don't understand. In that world, you have your parents. Oh, happy. You never had to give them up. Hermione's breath caught. For the first time, Ron saw it, the raw pain in her eyes. I'd give them up 1,000 times, she said, voice trembling but firm. To keep you here, because you're my friend. And friends don't abandon each other to pretty lies. Ron looked down. I'm scared I'll fail again. You already didn't, Harry said from the doorway. They both turned. Harry stood there, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I heard, he said, and I get it. But if you leave, you're not just leaving us. You're saying none of it mattered. The chess, the troll, the stone, me. Ron's eyes filled with tears. It's not that. It's just, what if I'm not strong enough for this world? Harry walked over, placed a hand on Ron's shoulder. Then we'll be strong for you, he said, like you were for us. May 17th, midnight, the final test. The lake returned, not as water, not as reflection, as a door. It stood at the edge of the forest. A simple wooden door, painted blue, with a brass knob shaped like a raindrop. On it, a note, step through, stay forever, or walk away, but choose now. Harry, Ron, and Hermione stood before it. You don't have to do this alone, Harry said. Ron took a deep breath. I know. He turned the knob. The door opened onto his cottage by the sea. Sunlight. Peace. Harry on the porch, smiling. Come home, Dream Harry said. Ron stepped forward, then stopped. He looked back at his friends, real, scarred, alive. I can't, he said. Dream Harry's smile faded. Why not? Because they need me, Ron said. And I need them, even when it hurts. He closed the door. The wood dissolved into mist, and where it had stood, a single white chess piece appeared, the king. Ron picked it up. It was warm. May 18th morning, the truth that sets free. At breakfast, Ron placed the white king on the table between them. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Harry grinned. Good, because I still owe you a rematch. Hermione rolled her eyes. After you've both learned the rules. Ron laughed. The full, loud, unguarded laugh they hadn't heard since before the chessboard. And in that moment they all knew the lake had lost, not because they defeated it, but because they chose each other, scars, pain, and all. Part 6. The Sacrifice in the Rain. May 20th, 9 a.m. Charms class, the first flicker. It started with a feather. Wingardium Leviosa, Hermione said, wand flicking with perfect precision. The feather twitched, rose an inch, then dropped like a stone. The class fell silent. Hermione's face flushed crimson. I must have mispronounced. Professor Flitwick patted her arm. Nonsense, my dear. Try again. She did. This time, the feather didn't move at all. Harry saw it, the panic in her eyes, the way her hand trembled, the way she couldn't remember the exact wrist movement she'd practiced 100 times. After class, she pulled him aside. It's getting worse, she whispered. Last night, I tried to recall my mom's favorite flower. I knew it was something blue, but the name, it's gone. Harry's chest tightened. We'll fix it. How? She asked, voice breaking. The lake took it. Magic can't give back what was willingly given. But Harry knew one thing. Friendship could. May 21st, evening, the library, a desperate search. They scoured the restricted section again. Ron carried a stack of books on memory charms. Harry flipped through the Soul's Ledger, Debts of the Heart. Hermione sat pale and quiet, her usual spark dimmed. Nothing works, Ron said, slamming a book shut. Memory potions need a physical anchor, a lock of hair, a personal item. But Hermione's parents are muggles. We can't just owl them for a photo. Hermione looked up, eyes hollow. Maybe I'm not meant to remember. Maybe this is the price. No, Harry said fiercely. You saved Ron. We're not letting you lose yourself. Just then, a book slipped from the shelf, The Magic of Shared Memory. Hermione opened it with numb fingers. When a memory is lost to sacrifice, it may be restored not by the giver, but by those who witnessed its worth. To rebuild a memory, 3 must speak its truth. The one who lived it, the one who saw it, and the one who loved it. Ron frowned. But we weren't there. We've never even met her parents. Harry's eyes lit up. We don't need to have been there. We just need to know them. He turned to Hermione. Tell us everything you do remember, and we'll help you fill in the rest. May 22nd, night, the common room rebuilding. They gathered by the fire. Hermione closed her eyes. My mum, she has curly hair, brown, and she wears glasses that slide down her nose when she reads. I bet she's brilliant, Ron said. Like you. Hermione smiled faintly. She's a dentist. She says teeth are the first thing people notice. And your dad? Harry asked. He laughs with his whole body, she said. And he always burns the toast. Ron grinned. Sounds like my dad. As they spoke, something happened. Hermione's wand, lying on the table, glowed faintly. Keep going, Harry urged. My mum's favorite flower is... Hermione struggled. Hydrangeas, Ron blurted. You told me once they change color based on the soil. She loves that, how something can be more than one thing at once. Hermione gasped. In her mind, a door opened. She saw it, her mother in the garden, kneeling in the dirt, holding a cluster of blue flowers. Look, darling, they're magic. Tears streamed down her face. It's coming back, she whispered, but not all of it. The faces were still blurry, the voices distant. We need more, Harry said. We need to show you. May 23rd, dawn, the pensive of friendship. Harry had an idea. He borrowed a shallow bowl from the kitchens, filled it with water, added a drop of his own blood, a tear from Ron, and a strand of Hermione's hair. It's not a real pensieve, he admitted, but maybe it'll be enough. He whispered the incantation from the book, Memoriae Vinculum. The water shimmered. Images formed, not clear but felt. Hermione as a child, reading under a tree, her mother's hand on her shoulder. Her father teaching her to ride a bike, running beside her, laughing. Family dinners, arguments about homework, bedtime stories. Hermione leaned over the bowl, tears falling into the water. I see them, she breathed. Not clearly, but I feel them. Then a voice, not from the water, from Ron. He'd been silent, staring into the fire. My mum's favorite flower is snapdragons, he said quietly. She says they look like little dragons. When I was little, I thought if I picked enough, I could make a real one. He looked at Hermione. You told me that once, about your mum and hydrangeas, and I remembered, because it mattered. Hermione reached for his hand. In that moment, her wand flared gold, and in her mind, her parents' faces snapped into focus. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. May 24th, morning, the rain that heals. They returned to the edge of the forest. No lake, no door, just earth, damp with morning dew. Hermione knelt, placed her palm on the ground. Thank you, she whispered. A single raindrop fell on her hand. Not from the sky, from nowhere. And in that drop, she saw them, her parents, smiling whole, waving goodbye not in loss, but in love. She stood, wiping her eyes. I won't forget again, she said. You won't have to, Harry said, because we'll remember for you. Ron slung an arm around her shoulders. And if you do, I'll remind you that your mum thinks hydrangeas are magic. Hermione laughed. A real bright sound. And as they walked back to the castle, the sun broke through the clouds. For the first time in weeks, it felt like summer. Part 7. The Keeper of Lost Things. May 25th, evening, Dumbledore's office. The invitation came at sunset. Not a letter. Not a note. A single white chess piece. The king Ron had found. Left on Harry's pillow, glowing faintly. They knew where to go. Dumbledore's office was warm, lit by candlelight and the soft golden glow of fox feathers. The headmaster sat behind his desk, hands folded, eyes kind but serious. "I see you've met the lake," he said as they entered. "You knew about it?" Hermione asked, stunned. "Long before Hogwarts was built," Dumbledore said. "The lake was here, not as water, as a wound in the world, a place where the veil between lives is thin. It doesn't create illusions, Miss Granger. It reveals truths we bury, the paths we fear, the selves we mourn, the loves we lost." Harry frowned. "Then why does it try to keep people?" "Because loneliness is a powerful magic," Dumbledore said gently. "And the lake is lonely too." He rose, walking to the window. "For centuries, it has called to those who feel lost. Some return, some do not. But those who do carry its echo." He turned to them. "You three didn't just bring Ron back. You healed a piece of the lake itself." Ron blinked. "We did. When you chose truth over ease," Dumbledore said, "you reminded the lake that this world, flawed, painful, beautiful, is worth staying for." He paused. "And now it needs protectors." May 26th, dawn the oath. They stood again at the forest's edge. No lake, no door, just dew-damp earth and the first light of dawn. Dumbledore held a small vial filled with silver liquid, the last of the crossing draft. "This is not a reward," he said. "It is a responsibility. The lake will always call to the lost. But now it will also listen to you." He handed the vial to Hermione. "Should another soul fall into its grasp, you will know. And you may choose to go after them." Harry looked at his friends. "We'll do it together." Dumbledore smiled. "As you always have." Then he stepped back. "Make your promise." They joined hands. "I, Harry James Potter," Harry began, "swear to remember those the world forgets." "I, Ronald Bilious Weasley," Ron said, voice steady, "swear to choose truth, even when it hurts." "I, Hermione Jean Granger," Hermione finished, tears in her eyes, "swear to rebuild what is lost, with love and memory." The earth beneath them warmed. A single raindrop fell, though the sky was clear, and in that moment they felt it, the lake's gratitude, its trust, the silence. May 27th, afternoon, the last visit. They went one final time, not to cross, not to test, just to say goodbye. Hermione placed a photograph on the damp earth, a picture she'd drawn from memory. Her parents, smiling, holding hydrangeas. Ron left his white king beside it. Harry added a single feather, the one from Charm's class that wouldn't rise. "Thank you," he whispered. The wind stirred, the items vanished, and the earth grew dry. The lake was gone. Not destroyed, not banished, just at peace. May 28th, evening, the common room, a new beginning. They sat by the fire, exams forgotten, summer on the horizon. Ron flipped through Hermione's copy of Reflections of What Might Be. Harry polished his snitch. Hermione wrote in a new journal, "The Keeper's Book." "What will you write?" Harry asked. "Everything," she said, "so no one forgets." Ron looked up. "Do you think anyone else will ever need to cross?" "Maybe," Harry said, "but if they do, we'll be ready." Hermione closed her book. "We're not just friends anymore. What are we?" Ron asked. "Keepers," she said softly, "of lost things, of hard truths, of each other." Outside, the first stars appeared, and somewhere, deep in the earth, a raindrop slept, waiting for the next lost soul to call. Part 8. The Boy Who Chose to Stay. June 5th, 4 p.m. Platform 9 3/4. The platform buzzed with goodbyes. Owls hooted from cages. Parents hugged children. Siblings tugged at robes, already plotting summer mischief. Harry, Ron, and Hermione stood near the rear of the train, trunks at their feet, silence between them heavy with everything unsaid. Ron kept glancing at the sky. "Still waiting for rain?" Harry asked, smiling. Ron grinned, the old, lopsided grin that meant he was truly back. "Nah, just making sure it stays dry. I've had enough water to last a lifetime." Hermione rolled her eyes, but her smile was soft. You'll miss it when you're stuck in the burrow with Fred and George's swamp experiment. Oi! Ron protested. That was one time. They laughed. A real, easy sound, the kind that only comes after surviving something together. Then Ron grew quiet. Do you think it's really over? The lake, Hermione asked. Ron nodded. Harry looked at his friends, the boy who sacrificed himself on a chessboard, the girl who gave up her parents to bring him back. It's not over, he said. It's just ours now. June 5th, 4:30 p.m. The train. A promise kept. They found an empty compartment. As the train pulled away from the platform, Hogwarts shrinking in the distance, Hermione pulled a small book from her bag. The Keeper's Book. She opened it to a fresh page. Keeper's Oath. Renewed. We remember the lost. We honor the truth. We choose each other, every day in every world. She passed it to Ron. He wrote, even when I'm rubbish at chess. Harry added, even when I'm tired of being famous. Hermione smiled. And even when I forget my parents' faces. You'll remind me. They closed the book. No one spoke. They didn't need to. June 5th dusk, the burrow a new welcome. The Weasleys met them at the station. Mrs. Weasley enveloped Ron in a hug so tight Harry thought he might pop. Oh, my brave boy. We heard what you did. Sacrificing yourself like that. Ron went red. It wasn't just me, Mum. Harry and Hermione are staying for the summer, Mrs. Weasley declared, already dragging their trunks toward the enchanted car. No arguments. As they drove through the countryside, Ron stared out the window. For the first time, he didn't feel like the poor one, the spare one, the one who didn't matter. He felt like Ron Weasley, chess master, keeper of lost things, best friend to the boy who lived. And that was enough. June 6th morning, the Dursleys' drive, a different goodbye. Harry stood on the sidewalk, trunk at his feet, Uncle Vernon grumbling in the car. Hermione hugged him tightly. Write to us, every week. I will, Harry promised. Ron clapped him on the shoulder. And if the lake calls again, you know where to find us. Harry smiled. I won't need to. I've got you lot. As the car pulled away, Harry looked back. Ron and Hermione stood side by side, waving. In Ron's hand, he held the White King. In Hermione's, the Keeper's Book. And though the sky was clear, Harry could have sworn he felt a single raindrop on his cheek.